You know that sound. It's not the big dramatic yank, it's those little ratchety clicks your brush makes when you're just trying to get through your hair. Well, that sound? It's pretty much the opening act for a bad hair day. Today, we're going to break down the one big mistake that turns those tiny clicks into a huge, frustrating knot.
Okay, so let's get right into this. According to hair expert Ed Shears, those clicks are not a sign that you're somehow bad at brushing your hair. No, they're a signal. They're telling you that a mechanical problem is building up one strand at a time. And you know the best part about a mechanical problem? It has a mechanical solution.
So I really want us to reframe this whole thing. Tangles are not your fault. Seriously, they're a physical, totally predictable thing that happens. And once you actually understand the mechanics behind them, you can start to outsmart them.
Okay, so the number one enemy of smooth, happy hair is friction. And it comes from a few usual suspects. You've got dryness, which means there's less slip between each strand. You've got damage, which creates these rough little surfaces that just love to snag. Then there's static, making hairs cling together for dear life. And yeah, even the collar on your jacket, rubbing all day, is creating a perfect storm for tangles. And, this whole friction problem, it gets everyone, just in slightly different ways. So if you've got fine hair, your strands are so lightweight, they just kind of float around and grab onto each other. For all my curly and kinky-haired folks, every single beautiful bend and curve is another chance for strands to meet up and create friction. And if you have thick, high-density hair, well, it's just a numbers game, right? More strands means way more chances to get tangled up and trap those shed hairs that basically act like little stitches holding a knot together.
So, how does one tiny little snag blow up into a disaster so fast? Well, this brings us to the most important idea of this whole explainer, what we're going to call the snag ladder. Ed Shears actually coined this term, and honestly, it's brilliant. A snag ladder is that exact chain reaction. See, you're not dealing with one giant knot. You're dealing with a bunch of tiny snags all linked together. One tangled strand grabs a neighbor, that neighbor grabs another, and before you know it, you're pulling on this whole chain that feels like one impossible knot. And you can see exactly how it works. It starts with one little snag, right? But as you pull on it, you're accidentally tightening the whole chain, pulling more and more strands into the mess. This is why the goal is not to fight the big knot at the end. The real secret is to break that ladder at the lowest possible rung as gently and as early as you can. So what are we doing that's making this worse? Well, damaged ends that act like Velcro, plus dryness and static, they all set the stage. But the number one mistake, the thing that builds and tightens that ladder like nothing else, is brushing from the top down. When you try to force a brush through a knot from above, you're just yanking that entire chain tighter and tighter. Okay, we get the problem. So how do we actually fix it? It's time to learn the right way to take apart the snag ladder, step by step. Now, before we even think about picking up a brush, this is the mindset you need to have. This is a total game changer. You are not attacking a knot. You are a technician, carefully and methodically taking apart a structure. Your goal is to dismantle, not to yank. Remember that. All right, here's the prep work. First, always work on dry or maybe just slightly damp hair. When hair is soaking wet, it's super stretchy and can snap before you even feel the tension. Second, use your best tools, your fingers. They give you way more feedback than a brush ever could. Then you're going to add some slip, a detangler, a bit of conditioner, whatever you've got. And finally, section your hair. You can't dismantle the whole ladder at once, so break it down into smaller, manageable parts. And now for the main event. This is the most important step. Start at the absolute ends of your hair. I'm serious. Brush only the last inch until it's totally clear. Then move up and do the last 2 inches, and so on. As you work your way up, hold the hair right above where you're brushing. That stops you from pulling at your scalp. And if you hear those clicks, that's your signal to stop and back off. More force is never the answer. Only when a whole section is completely clear do you get to do that final long, satisfying pass from root to tip. But listen, even the most perfect technique is going to fail if you're using the wrong tool. Your brush can either be your best friend in this process, or it can be the very thing that makes the knot even tighter. The difference is absolutely huge. A brush with flexible bristles is literally designed to bend around a snag and then release it, which gives you a chance to reset your approach. A stiff brush, though, it just digs right in and pulls, which tightens that snag ladder and almost always leads to breakage. So let's just break this down real quick. For actually working through tangles, you want a detangling brush. Those flexible bristles are designed to be forgiving. A boar bristle brush, it's amazing, but its job is to smooth your hair and add shine after it's already tangle-free. And that stiff cushion brush a lot of us have, honestly, it usually works against you, pulling on knots and just making the whole problem worse.
Okay, so we've learned how to deal with tangles when they show up, but the ultimate goal, right, is to just not have them in the first place. So this last part is all about prevention.
And these are such simple but powerful habits. Instead of rubbing your hair like crazy with a towel, just gently squeeze the water out. Do a quick detangle before you go to sleep to avoid waking up to a mess. Sleeping on a silk or satin pillowcase really does reduce friction overnight. Try to keep product buildup low so your strands don't get all sticky. And finally, get regular trims. Those split ends are like little bits of Velcro just waiting to start a new snag ladder.
And this quote right here is really the whole point. It all comes down to this. It can feel like yanking and pulling is faster in the moment, but when you think about the breakage, the damage, and just the sheer frustration, it's not. The patient, gentle approach, the one where you dismantle the ladder, is what will actually save you time and, most importantly, save your hair. So, as we wrap this up, I want you to think about your own routine. What's one thing you can change? Are you going to start brushing from the ends up? Are you going to finally switch to a flexible brush? Or maybe you just book that haircut you've been putting off. What is the one change you're going to make to finally break your snag ladder for good?